My father sold me to the Werewolf King as a breeder, and I resigned myself to my fate. But just as he was about to enter me, he realized I didn't have a wolf. In that instant, his hand tightened around my throat. My fingers clawed at his arms as I gasped for air, his crimson eyes burning into mine. Shift, he growled, his voice carrying the authority of his wolf. I can't, I wheezed, the words barely escaping my lips. Rage flashed across his face as he grabbed a vase from the bedside table and hurled it to the floor, shattering it in pieces. Get out, he barked, his voice dripping with disdain. Terrified, I scrambled for my clothes, clutching them to my chest as I fled the room, trembling and vulnerable. My bare feet slapped against the cold floor as his enraged voice echoed behind me. Moments later, I heard his beta burst into the room. Daniel grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. Why didn't you tell me she didn't have a wolf? He snarled. She's weak, practically human. That thing can't bear my air. You think I chose her? The beta shack, his voice laced with barely contained anger. I didn't know either, but she's the one named in the prophecy. You have no choice, Your Majesty. Daniel's fury boiled over as he slammed his fist into the cabinet above the bed, sending shards of glass flying. He knew the beta was right. I was the only one who could bear his air. I collapsed into a dark kitchen corner, tears streaming down my face. Shame and fear twisted in my chest as I replayed his touch, the rough, hateful way he'd handled me. James, my mate for 3 years, had barely touched me, yet here I was, still aching for a monster who despised me. I hated myself for responding to him, for wanting something so twisted. No one wants me, I whispered bitterly. Not my father, not James, not even the Leakin King. The kitchen window was my only escape. Wiping my tears, I climbed out and dashed into the forest, ignoring the pain of branches scratching my skin and blisters forming on my bare feet. The full moon lit the path as I ran, driven by desperation. I couldn't stay. I couldn't bear to face his hatred again. The haunting sound of a wolf's howl stopped me dead in my tracks. Fear gripped me as a massive wolf emerged from the shadows, standing on its hind legs like a man. Its menacing gaze bore down on me, freezing me in place. Before I could move, the wolf shifted, revealing Daniel's towering, human form. His midnight blue eyes glared, cold and unforgiving. You ran, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Before I could respond, he grabbed me by the neck and slammed me against a tree. My heart pounded as I clawed at his hands, struggling to breathe. Your Majesty, the beta's voice called from behind him, snapping Daniel's attention. He released me, and I collapsed to the ground, coughing and clutching my throat. Are you stupid? The beta scolded, his voice sharp. Running out here, in this cold, on a full moon night? Rogues could have killed you. It doesn't matter, I snapped, tears blurring my vision. I don't matter. Let me die and save yourself the trouble. Daniel's eyes darkened, and in an instant, he had me by the hair, yanking me to my feet. You want to die? He snarled. Fine. But remember this, you are the sole bearer of my heir. For the next 10 months, you'll be my breeder. You'll bear my child, and after that, you can go. The weight of his words crushed me. No, I whispered, horrified. A contract will be drawn up, he continued, his tone colder than ice. You'll be fed, clothed, and cared for, but don't expect affection. We are not mates.